It's Terrible Tuesday, which means we're either reviewing something with Shark, Jurassic, or Amityville in the title. Oh, look at that! Look, I'm in no position to judge, but I do anyway. And there's just some people out there who shouldn't, no matter how much it is their dream, act or direct or write a film or, anything like that. There's also channel members out there who vote on these Terrible Tuesday polls with nothing but my peeing in their mind. But at least they pay for the privilege. Sorry, I'm just trying to talk about anything but this movie because it's so boring. The Amityville Asylum, not just some random Amityville Asylum, this is the one. And again, like all Amityville rip-off films pretty much, the idea off the bat isn't terrible. They basically knocked down the Amityville house and then built an asylum on top of it. It's just recently opened. Lisa goes and gets a cleaning job there. And for some reason, for lack of a better word, she's kooky? Like, silly. Like, in the opening scene, she does her job interview. She accidentally swears in front of the job interview guy, and then she sneezes on him, and she's like, doo. I'm like, okay, this doesn't seem like it's the setup for, the leading character of an investigative horror film, but alright. But don't worry, because that's not the least frightening thing that's going to happen in this film. There's also going to be long, drawn-out scenes about all the chemicals they use in the cleaning. And you keep thinking, oh, that's interesting. That's surely going to lead somewhere. Nope. Nope. Anyway, she just gets this job. She starts cleaning. It's all during night shifts. Ooh, they can be just scary anyway on their own. But she has to deal with ghosts that she keeps seeing pop up, as well as the psychotic inmates that keep trying to talk to her about really weird stuff. And also, there's just her co-workers who are all men, which is honestly the scariest thing that goes on. This is in the category of those films which are cheaply made, but it's not on the bottom level of hell as far as production quality goes. There are some films where I can hardly bear to look at some of them for very long. I have to keep pausing them every 5 minutes because it's just awful to witness the camera work, and a lot of films that you can barely hear the sound in some scenes. Those are the worst ones for sure. When you can't even hear what's going on, that is the bottom rung of the ladder. This is a rung up from that, where it's actually got some level, not necessarily high production quality. You can tell it's incredibly low budget. They just work around it slightly better. Having said that, despite having that going for it, and the fact that it's got all of these dangerous things going on, like the inmates, the ghosts, the co-workers who are creepy as hell, there's so much going on there, and it's less than 90 minutes long. And yet, it still manages to be one of the most boring films I've seen this year. And honestly, it's almost a worse crime in some ways to be that boring over just being incredulously bad. You know why? Because if it's that boring, it makes a not very interesting review. It really is about her just doing this kind of investigation into what's up with this place, and she finds out all this stuff about how the asylum used to, be at this house where this guy killed his family, blah, blah, blah. The Amityville thing. But I don't know how to, she figures that out at, the 50-minute mark, and we already knew that, even despite it, being kind of silly, very, very dull, just weird across the board in different ways. I didn't think I was going to give this, the bottom mark I could possibly give until the final 30 minutes. At that point, it tries to, hype itself up and really go for it, and it just loses any semblance of plot. I had no idea what was happening. It really lost itself for me, and it just got so muddled up and tried to do a kind of, oh no, her co-workers are kind of nuts, but also, oh my goodness, the patients are breaking out, but also, oh my goodness, somebody's been possessed and is also a demon king has been summoned. Still didn't really get what was going on there. And then the ending itself was just so awful. I just really hated it that I'm just kind of left going, oh, it was kind of treading along this very boring, not worst of the worst line for a long time, and then it just completely shits itself in the third act, which was a shame, but also not necessarily unexpected given that it's called the Amityville Asylum. It also, I loved this about it. It does this kind of sound effect. It's like a little doodly mysterious revelation sound effect, like, all the time, every time something's revealed, and it was so funny. And it was literally the exact things that you would think, like, the old school, like, duh, sound effects would be used for, like, oh, you saw Mrs. Edelman? But Mrs. Edelman died this morning. I loved it. It was so dumb. It made this feel like it was made in the 60s, not 2013, I think. Like, man, I'm giving Night Shifts Are Hell half a star. Channel members get to vote on polls and suggest films for Terrible Tuesday and Throwback Thursday every week, so you should probably buy one of those channel memberships if you want to torture me. Or just like, comment, and survive.